What up, my freaks? RuinusInsight here with part 4 of my Total War Warhammer 3 Drazhoath the Ashen Old World campaign. So as we saw last time, we have begun spreading out our empire, which is quite an interesting endeavor on the Old World map because of the sort of Howling Waste, the Desolation of Azgorh, and the Wolflands up here. Because of these big old open territories, our armor is kind of looking like ore veins moving through the Darklands, which is appropriate and is also quite interesting. We are approaching the Mount Azgorh territory, which is a very, very rich territory with tons of resources as well as a landmark, and of course it's Mount Azgorh, so we do have to take it for Drazhoath and his Legion of Azgorh, and are also looking to take the territories of Pigbarter of the Southern Realms, and will probably turn our sights upon the Death Toll Ogre Kingdoms. We will of course need additional army or armies, as we've noticed that labor is quite a bit more hard to come by, I should say. Almost Laneshi giggle there, in the Old World map as compared to the Immortal Empires map, which also makes me think it's a lot better to play the Chaos Dwarfs on the Old World map, as their economy is a little bit overtuned, a little bit too easy on the Immortal Empires map, as opposed to this, where we actually have to watch our numbers, watch our percentages quite a lot more, which is making it pretty darn fun. Anyway, in terms of what we got to do this time, well, we're pushing down here, we're pushing up there, we're taking territory, and carefully expanding our empire. But we do have to be a little bit considerate of where we end up, because we are starting to get really spread out for the amount of armies we have. Most likely it might be better to fortify this location, at least that's the way I'm thinking, and then reach the edge of the range of mountains that make up the or end up at Mount Greyhag, and then maybe fortify Greyhag right here, so as the tip of this thing. Just essentially fortify the tip, just the tip though, and then maybe go start moving up the causeway towards Jarna Grund. Obviously there will be stuff to take in the meantime, maybe even better to loop back towards the Skaven here, because it's inevitable that they'll attack us again, while taking the Ogrish territories down here as well. At least that's the idea. We'll see if we can pull it off without getting surrounded and attacked by too many factions on our borders at once. Anyway, let's see what we've got to do this turn. By the looks of it, there isn't much. I'm going to do one thing, however. This episode, the Gorda's army will be fighting alone now, so it's going to need a few of those names in there. So let's start on those. Trustworthy Gits, probably the best name for one of the sneaky Gits. There we go, completely trustworthy, I'm sure. Hobgoblin Cutthroats. Let us do... alright. No spell... Okay, fine. Drazhoath's... Hangnails, I take it. Yeah, if you don't specify which hobgob to name, I will just pick a random hogbog. Oh, for the love of it begins once again. Anyway, we'll do the brimstone, just without the brimstone bandits for the archers. That one was specified, and wolf raiders. Wait, actually, I guess it should be, because it should be one of these. It doesn't really matter which one it is. Let's do one of the range units. Mange Rovers, which are sort of one of our community canon units. Not without a story, just a name that's recurring throughout. I think this is the 3rd or 4th campaign that these guys have made a comeback in. So yeah, sometimes names are just so good we gotta keep them around. There's a few of them in the canon that we do recur. And all right, one more against my better judgment, completely against my better judgment. I know I'm going to regret this every single episode, but we will name you Hog Boglin. It's even difficult to say. Hog Boglins. Yeah, this is going to hurt me, but there was like 5 different comments or something like that, all saying I should do this, so I hate you all. Anyway, that's it for the Gabos for now. I guess let's end the turn and then let's proceed to fighting with them. I'd have to put down the Skaven Rebellion, depending on if they attack the Dire Bogs. Huh. Dire Gobs might be a decent name for a, you know what, I'll take that. I'll name one of them myself. You sneaky gets the Dire Gobs. I like it. Because they'll be taking this place anyway. Anyway, let's skip the rest of this and then let's proceed to the next turn. And, another Black Dragon in this army. Interesting. Well, we're gonna have to take it. Can't say no to another Black Dragon, even at the cost of 100 cargo. It's a bit unfortunate, but it's always gonna be worth it. Except the beast. I saw that Skaven Rebellion army reach full and then it disappeared. I would have assumed that it attacked the Dire Bogs, but it looks like they're still upgrading, so I'm not entirely sure what happened there. Not that it's gonna be super important. Pestilence Scheme performed, and, ooh, -5 control for 3 turns. It's -15 control. We really don't need that right now. What we do need is to upgrade, or to get that ash level back up and running. We deleted it from the Burning Deep so that we can build a high quality assembly line here and acquire the additional armaments, though we do have to be careful about our raw materials now, and darn that unhappy populace. But I guess it does make decent amounts of sense in the Chaos Dwarf faction. Let's see. We will take a look at this stuff later. What do we... Hello. Get her. And you have a Skull Wand of Kaloth. I wonder if we can steal that and turn it into something that we can actually use. I do like that you appeared here, and you actually have a full stack, and I assume, yeah, there's also the units out of the Mines of Gorgoth. Interesting. Although I wonder if the Mines of Gorgoth will block us off if we attack. Well, I presume you'll run anyway. But anyway, we'll obviously be fighting that. In fact, you know what? Let's fight it right now. Alukta's the Bronze. Let's level you up, sir. I'm gonna say, let's get you piercing shots. We will still want to move into extra powder as fast as possible, as it is a decent little buff for everybody around. Next, we will, I guess, switch you... I mean, admittedly, we've been miscasting a lot. Oh, channeling stance doesn't do anything for miscasting, it just hurts our vigor. Give us a little bit of fire resistance. Then it's not worth it. At least not to attack while in the stance, since it does stop for us miscast reduction, which is a little bit surprising. I feel like it should, like other factions. Anyway, let's attack Mr. Gitter, shall we? And close victory, let's see, they've still got a fair few numbers of units, so we do have to be wary of the stalking nature of the Night Goblins at the very least. Of course, we've got our own stalkers on field, and fortunately now with Cinderbreath, who absolutely showed off last episode, we'll be able to see them from up on high. Before we get started, we did reach the engagement threshold once more, so there's going to be a longer episode, and if we should reach the engagement threshold again at 500 likes and 70 comments, the next episode will be longer as well. Plus, if we maintain the streak through next episode, then I guess tomorrow we'll do a double episode day with a bonus episode. So, and do keep that in mind. Drop those likes and comments below if you're into it. Let's go. Exactly. Alrighty, here we go, our first little proper fight against the Grey Hag faction. They do hold a decent bit of territory, so we're likely to encounter them again, even should we defeat them here. It does seem to be a Gobbo faction, kind of like Skarsnik, as I think their entire army is made up of only Gobbo units and some trolls and stuff, and, well, pump wagons. Well, basically Gobbo units. No orcs is what I'm getting at. Anyway, I'm gonna drop that Burning Wrath from up above and hover menacingly, though once again it does look like the arrows do manage to stagger Cinderbreath and Bale Tauruses in general. The annoying aspect of this is it makes it very difficult to get a Bale Taurus breath going, because even if basic arrows can stagger you, then it's really hard, because you can't do it unless you're never being focused by anything. But anyway, we'll give it a shot. In the meantime, the enemy army is annoyed and is heading towards our force. We got a very simple formation going with the Chaos Dwarf Warriors on the flanks and sort of in between the units of blunderbusses, and in the center we have our fire glaze. Of course, this is a trap in the sense that if the enemy decide to ignore the warriors and charge through, we can fight in melee just fine with our units of fire glaives. Anyway, looks like the first first of the enemies do manage to reach us, some Gobbo Wolf Raiders, though they get absolutely obliterated. And by the blunderbusses and a couple of hits into the Chaos Dwarf Warriors, ain't gonna do much. Still getting that support overhead as we cast an Ash Storm and slow the enemy down. Trolls attempt to charge together with the Gobbos, but get torn apart by blunderbuss and fire glaive and fire arrow alike. Time now that the enemy has arrived and engaged with our Chaos Dwarfs to send in the Kadai. And they should be able to rip those Night Goblins apart with a little to no issue. We also do have the enemy reinforcements on the field now, and they do have some orcs because it is a garrison, so we'll need to wheel our army around in turn to deal with them as soon as we're done here. Snotling pump wagons completely failed to get through the Ash Storm and will get gunned down and destroyed, though it looks like we can ignore the remaining two. And it looks like the first army is pretty much done for. A couple of range units remain. The enemy is Wolf Rider archers, but they're obviously of no concern to us. And now, would you look at that? Another unit of Snotling pump wagons does manage to charge through to our Chaos Dwarf Warriors, but not to worry, our Kadai will hopefully chase them down. Enemies launching a few spells and they sail on by. I think they were supposed to hit Drazhoath himself, but only a couple of the projectiles hit and the rest just sailed into the sky. Anyway, Kadai, you're going after those pump wagons, so don't let them come back. Does look like at least a few of the enemy units have rallied, but not for long. Not for long at all. Once again, it's always a very scary thing to be chasing, or not chasing, to be attempting to run into a Chaos Dwarf held position. Lovely. Especially when we don't have to worry about them casting a big spell on us. And it looks like the reinforcements are moving in. The Orc Boar Boys, 2 units of them in fact, wheeling around this little tree area and rocks, and beginning to charge forward. The Fire Glaives will hit them first, arrows second, and then as they get a little bit closer, the blunderbusses will begin to fire. There we go, and the magma cannon's helping out as well, and all that weight of fire is staggering and slowing the enemy formation down. Oh, magma cannon, right into our pile of Chaos Dwarf Warriors. That's unfortunate. Anyway, it looks like the weight of fire has destroyed one of the unit of Orc Boys, or at the very least forced them to rout, and another couple of volleys will do the same to the second one. Alrighty, and the Boar Boys are out, but we still have the infantry to deal with. Gonna get a few shots off on them with our magma cannons, though they are approaching in the sort of tree line here, which can protect them to some degree. Gonna drop some Burning Wrath on them. Too bad we can't set the entire tree line on fire, but what can you do? I guess that would be, that wouldn't be so great for the Wood Elves. Just set all of Athel-Loren on fire and you win. Anyway, looks like the bounce power is at about 90% in our favor now. Still a few enemy units remaining down here, trying to get another Pale Torah's Breath going. But we're gonna give up because that couple of arrows stagger us once again, or possibly a couple of, yeah, I think it was a couple of arrows. Anyway, there we go, finally moving away and able to get that breath out. I do feel like that ability is a trap. I keep trying to do it and it's constantly getting staggered. Can only really use it when there are no range units available or they're all tied up by stuff. Anyway, unit of Orc Boys attempts to charge forward at our line, but by itself not going to work out so well. The major portion of the enemy army now slowed down by the Ash Storm, so hopefully a couple more shots from our magma cannons into the blob will do some good work. Assuming these guys actually line up and take those shots. Come on now. Any second now. There we go. There we are, and that was weirdly accurate. All 4 cannons fired into the exact same place. Don't really expect that from them, but kind of impressed nonetheless, though it's actually not a good thing. Enemy is reinforcing army led by a black orc, a big boss. Look at him run. It's just, oh no, I've made a terrible mistake rushing towards that battle line. The blunderbusses, the fire arrows, the fire glaives, all of that. He rapidly loses 95% of his HP and is obliterated. Poor guy. I feel bad. I do like the color scheme though. It's almost like orky green. It's a little bit too light. but I still like it. Alrighty, anyway. Anyway, we're just about done here as... Oh, yes, indeed, we are done. It looks like the balance of power shifts 100% in our favor, and the garrison is gonna shatter, and the battle is ours. Lovely. Now we do have to chase the enemy down as best we can, and in fact, Drazh is working on it in the background, chasing trolls down, because nobody else is gonna be able to. And admittedly, this army isn't gonna be very good at chasing, because we only have the Hobgob Sneaky Gits available to do it, and the Cremation Corps, the Kadai, but they are way too far away to contribute. Anyway, we'll do the rest off screen. Alright, there we go. Lovely little fight and much needed labor from it at nearly 600. Definitely needed that. And ooh, we've also reached level 15, which I believe means we can unlock our next quest battle for... I don't remember which of his items, but one of his items. Let's transport the captives in a second. Looks like, let's see. Well, the Glare of Azgorh will always clean up, but right now they don't have any other of the of those units to compete with, so there is that, and the Fire Garden, one of the well, actually a couple of the unnamed blunderbusses did well. Blunderbusses will all be transferred out of this army to another army because, I mean, there's no particular reason to have them be in this particular army when we can buff the Fire Glaives, so there will be that. And it looks like humanoid resources hacked their way through many a unit of Gabo. Anyway, transport captives, please. Alright, and this guy will survive, and okay, I guess that decides that we do have to move towards Mines of Gorgoth rather than moving towards the Tower of Gorgoth first, which means bouncing back this way towards Mount Greyhag, as these guys own all this territory. And we killed in battle, and Drazhoath leveled up as well, so in terms of that... I think rather than going immediately for Flames of Azgorh, which we... Well, I mean, there's only 2 more levels until we can get access to it. It is a very nasty spell, and we can get it for really cheap. I was thinking that maybe we should get the points into Tyrant, but we can, I suppose, do that after we get Flames of Azgorh, so let's do that. Yeah, that makes sense to me. Also, I guess we'll wait until we've leveled up enough to get the armament cost reduction for Infernal Guard and Ironsworn before building them up in numbers. Well, of course, we also need the money, which we right now have to prioritize other armies with. Anyway, go kill Grisguts, or the remnants of this little army. Auto-resolve this. Please don't tell me the auto-resolve kills our flame cannons, magma cannons. There we go. Not so much. We'll take the... I mean, it's very little money. I think since we're going to auto-resolve again, we'll do the conscript captives, and... Oh, you're out of range? Oh, I was not expecting that. Well, darn. I mean, I suppose we could walk back around towards the Tower of Gorgoth. You know what? Go into March stance, and then go right here. I want to see if we can reach the Tower of Gorgoth in one bound from here. I don't know whether it's possible, but if it is, I'd rather do that first and then get back to the mines. And we shall see. You've also leveled up to level 15. Not that I think you get anything interesting at level 15, but let's go through piercing shots, and we've got extra powder coming up next. Oh, wait, laboratory gives... no additional... It feels like it should give at least a little bit of research. +5 research. Come on, game. In addition to whatever it does about the buildings, because, well, let's face it, most of the time it's not going to be useful. Anyway, Kuntij, you will go down to the Dire Bogs with your own Dire Gobs. Oh, for the... it's going to get confusing with the Hog Boglins. Maybe I should have named the Wolf Raiders Dire Bogs, because they got wolves. Well, whatever. I might do it between the episode if it annoys me enough. Let's take this. I assume you're not going to be able to reach us here? No, but it looks like you want. Alright. We will still jump you down here. I don't think there's anybody to interfere with any of this anyway. And then we'll hit to the Dire Bogs with an auto-resolve, because there's basically nothing there, and of course take it as an outpost. Yes. Alright, and Dragon Fire Handgun attacks cause flammable effect, reducing fire resistance. Now, that is actually an interesting find. Maybe that would be better than Shield Breaker, I'm not entirely sure. I mean, it would definitely be better than Shield Breaker once we have Shield Breaker and a bunch of these guys, but well, we'll keep it in mind for now. That'll be very useful. Oh, also, did we not build another... No, we didn't. Okay, we need more Demonsmith Sorcerer capacity, so we should try to upgrade this thing as fast as we can, or build it in other locations. It's just something to consider. Anyway, you're fine now, minus the fact that you reached level 10, but you already have your unique lines, so I guess the question will be, what exactly kind of army are you going to command? Which will probably remain a question for now, because Gorgoth is being transferred to the other guy. I guess out of all this, we'll probably just want to go into Inspiring Presence and start leveling something at least, but we'll see. It'll probably be another Gobbo commanding army for now, but it'll, well, there's a decent likelihood that it'll change later. Next up, what do we have in terms of buildings? Ooh, actually, before we do buildings, if we want to attack the ogres, we may want to maybe start building an army up here. Or down here. We could use some armaments to get at least a couple cannons on the field. Maybe we'll do Hell Cannons this time rather than Magma Cannons. We do want a Hell Cannon battery. We do still have access to the Iceforged Legion, I assume, which is just an insane... Yeah. Soul of Damnation, rather. Oh, we get the Iceforged Legion and the Soul of Damnation. Yes, alright. So that'll be some solid Hell Cannon battery stuff. We'll enjoy that. Well, let's see what we got in terms of Overseers. Irate and a Dust. I don't particularly like either of those. We do have a needful Sorcerer Prophet, but especially in the early game, we're better off using Overseers, because the Sorcerer Prophets, they buff Kadai, they buff Bull Centaur Renders, they buff Bale Tauruses, all the monstrous sort of things, but the Overseer have nice general sort of stuff, like the adjutant upkeep reduction and armor, 15% armor for 15 armor rather for Chaos Dwarf infantry. If we combine that with a guy that's a needful with another 10 armor, there'll be a plus 25 armor to Chaos Dwarf infantry, and would essentially give the Chaos Dwarf warrior regular units as much armor as Infernal Guard, except obviously for cheap, which would be quite nice. We'll have to keep an eye on that, and, well, I guess we'll probably be attacking these guys shortly. Who are they friends? Oh, they're not at war with... Oh, I don't like that they're not at war with anybody. That's actually concerning. Oh, and they're friends with Pigbarter, eh? Wait, does that mean that the undead here are friends with Pigbarter as well? No, well, they're not... Actually, they do kind of like them. Huh. Go figure. Okay, yeah, that's a problem. These guys are all going to hate us for destroying them very shortly, and we'll need to defend ourselves. And, ooh, we did get the Hobgob mustering camp here. Alright, we may use this to recruit some stuff and maybe separate you into a couple of armies as well. And just got to make sure we can recruit some stuff here. Alright, that doesn't change the fact that we need to build buildings, so let's do that. Let's see what we have here. Burning Deeps, we were going to build the high-quality assembly line. Ooh, the cost is terrible, though. Assuming that there is nothing more critical to build right now, let's just do a quick double check. I don't think there is. Or at the very least, nothing super critical. So we can ignore it. Alright, so we'll do this. 3 turns until the high-quality assembly line is completed. We should also transfer the labor around a little bit. It's looking okay here. And we can do -1 here, +1 there. Like so. And we're back at 100%. We'll probably take the next few provinces and won't collect labor there and either do outposts without mines or possibly factories with just defenses. I did say I wanted to fortify a few locations, so as good a time as any, I suppose. Boulder Bellies hold, and, well, the best place to build stuff is here. I'm just not sure we want to keep the Grand Manufactory in this location right now. Well, you know what, maybe we do. I did still want those Hell Cannons, so let's... Ooh, wait. We need to figure out what we have room for. Frankly, we may actually want to delete the prototype Mega Mortar out of this location eventually, because we need to take 2 slots with the Infernal Barracks and the Drill, and then we'll have 2 remaining, and we want the Treasure Hall and the Sorcerer Prophet's Estate, the Rail Network because of the adjacency bonus in every single province, and most likely the Grand Furnace, if possible. The raw materials being consumed, which are definitely consumed in this place. And probably the Temple of HELLSHARD, meaning we don't have room for both military structures. Huh. And probably not for the Mega Mortar as well. Alright, meaning we won't upgrade you as yet. Maybe we'll do a couple more magma cannons, rather than wasting the armaments. At least until we get more armaments. I definitely have to plan ahead here. What do we have in terms of immediate gains? The treasure troves at level 3 or tier 3 are getting quite expensive. Boulder Bellies hold. Yeah, still quite expensive. I'm almost tempted to save some money, but let's upgrade the Overseer's camp. Oh, you know what? We'll save the money. We'll go into Masterful Architects here, and then upgrade a bunch of stuff here next turn. Yeah, this stuff will get cheaper, and it'll be very costly as well. Alright, that decides it. So, unassigned skill points, building upgrade available, outpost available, ignore all that. And I assume it was... Wait, who had the... Wait. Convoy? Ooh, wait. Conclave influence, yes. I almost forgot the important stuff. Expounder General is what we need. Conclave influence gain +1 per turn per factory settlement building, which will be a fairly significant increase. We'll start with that. There's a bunch of other good stuff, but we'll start with that. And if we can rack up 75, we'll grab the final point here just for the percentages. All right, I think that looks good to me. So let's end turn once more. Again, a substantial income completed, another Razor Standard, and a Potion of Healing as well, and... okay, we got another army appearing here, but I'm willing to bet that they'll run. At least... Exactly. Distinct lack of insulting Astrogoth in that little speech. But anyway, we'll give this a read in a second, because we'll probably be doing it very shortly. I want to see what our range is like. So, this is close to the edge of our range. Ooh, that's risky. If we move here, will we still be able to proceed to the Tower of Gorgoth? I don't know. Oh, that's annoying. Do we risky? Ain't getting no bisky otherwise. I mean, these guys will obviously back off, unlike the little Gobbo army. It's just that whether we'll still have enough movement range to go after them. We still have 26 remaining, which isn't nothing. Well, let's find out. Yeah, better not regret this. Don't make me regret this game. Oh, will they draw out the garrison? If it draws out the garrison, they might fight. Oh, it will draw out the garrison. Perfect. Ooh, we're getting battles this episode. And then the quest against the undead right after. I love it. I absolutely love it. This guy has a few items, just gray ones though, but the fact that he's willing to fight is nice. And oh, they also have that Death Shrieker rocket. Maybe I should have just kept one of the slots free just for that, because we do need to get rid of one of the Hobgoblin Sneaky Gits and replace it with the Blazing Beards of Bajorak Regiment of Renown of Chaos Dwarf Warriors. But oh well, for now we gotta fight anyway, so fight we shall. Go again.
Legion of Azgorh, suital runleth.
Alright, here we go. A very decent pile of Chaos Dwarfs stand arrayed against us between their main stack as well as the reinforcements that are liable to move in. Ooh, some very nice and accurate shots from those magma cannons. They really are quite accurate. And once again, it just makes me think, man, would it be nice to actually somehow get a regular dwarfen ally. Imagine magma cannons and flame cannons working together with ideally some flamethrower units and a few other things, but yeah. They would synergize all very nicely. Anyway, this is probably the last fight we have against enemy Chaos Dwarfs here, as we will be probably destroying this faction immediately after this, assuming that we win this battle and destroy enough of the enemies that we don't have to fight them again immediately after in their tower. But if we do, or if we do destroy them, then we should be good. Anyway, looks like the enemy is going to move ahead, and we do have this little plateau protecting us. This is usually, or typically, a perfect location location for archers to be upon, because they can fire down and arc down below, and then we can hold the flanks with the blunderbusses as soon as they get into position, of course, which we are rapidly moving to do so. Enemy will, of course, lead with the orc laborers to absorb fire, which is a good use of them from the AI, and exactly what they're meant for. But charging into blunderbusses ain't going to keep them alive for very long. There we go, take your shots. And these units of orc laborers will dwindle relatively rapidly. We will, of course, take a little bit of damage into our own units of... what was that? Is that a cascading fire cloak? What was that? Yeah, I suppose it doesn't really matter over much, but anyway. Anyway, we'll clip our own units a little bit, but it's worth it to destroy droves and droves of laborers, even if we are looking like we're nearly getting overrun. Alright, and of course, that's just the laborers leading. There are other units, Chaos Dwarf Warriors attempting to move in, but with the fire glaives and blunderbusses focusing them down as a priority on the left flank, they're not faring all that much better than the laborers were. Our fire arrows are raining down upon the enemy below as well. And it does look like the enemy reinforcements are on the field and ready to move to reinforce. Drazhoath is also flying around, going after the enemy Castellan first. The Castellan was firing at him. Hit from a fireball. Castellan was attacking slowly but surely some of our Chaos Dwarf Warriors. And he's got 5 kills, so yeah, that's pretty solid. And we gotta destroy him here. Looks like we're taking plenty of damage ourselves from enemy fire arrows as well, but at the very least the Kadai won't be too vulnerable to such fire. Though they are still very fragile and we will still have to be careful with them, as they've already lost about 15% of their HP. They will, however, be a quick unit, which we otherwise wouldn't have available, and they will begin chasing down the various gobos and trying to tie up any enemy range units. And ooh, the Deathstreak rockets are firing away. The Hobgoblin Wolf Raiders hit our unit of Sneaky, gets tie them up and allow the enemy to rain some of those rockets down upon them. And as they run, they will run them down. Great use of that little unit of cavalry by the AI, forcing our Hobgoblin Sneaky Gits to rout, and then switching the Cav to try to tie up some of those blunderbusses. They're not going to win against the Chaos Dwarfs, but, well, if the Death Shrieker gets any closer, we'll start taking shots to our main line, and we'll either have to contract our line, or we'll have to tie up the enemy artillery piece, which, as you can guess, is where Mr. Drazhoath is going. He will take a few hits from the enemy blunderbusses and fire arrows. Ooh, and good job to the blunderbusses, leading the Bale Taurus and still managing to land all those hits, and despite it being a moving target that's dodging. Pretty interesting. Probably also part of the proximity, as in if you were further away you'd probably be able to dodge the shots, but the projectile speed on the blunderbusses is pretty darn quick, so probably a little bit harder to dodge. And here we go, that little unit of Hobgobo archers completely annihilated, and looks like the enemy's right flank has completely collapsed now that they have reinforcements coming in, but they're only coming in on our left flank, so we should be pretty good. Landing on those Death Shrieker rockets now, and not to worry, we'll be getting a few of these of our own. Probably not in this army, as we might not have room because we need destroyers and Kadai and Fire Glaives and Ironsworn and stuff, but in probably a couple of armies. Especially if we are to fight Imrik, as I learned when I played Zatan. The Death Shriek rockets are fantastic with their demolition rockets at bringing dragons down, and we are still relatively near to Dragon's Landing, or what the whatever it's called in the old world map, which I imagine is where Imrik is hiding out. Anyway, reinforcements still moving in. We do have to be wary of the fact that they do have several blunderbuss units here, and are liable to be able to do just as much damage as we are. Kadai down to half HP with 15 units, so we'll also have to be careful with them, and they are moving blunderbusses in as well. A little bit of blunderbuss versus blunderbuss action here as two of our own blunderbuss units will take aim, even as they get hit by the enemy rockets. First of all, he goes into the enemy Chaos Dwarf Warriors so that they don't close the distance, although there are more enemies moving in. Wolf Raiders charging on through, and it looks like should have separated these two units of blunderbusses a little bit more, as they will charge on forward. Kadai trying to avoid the firing line of those blunderbusses, but unfortunately unable to do so as the blunderbusses wheel around and hit them right in the flank, devastating their HP, but only dropping so far, what was it, 1 unit? Or 3, what was it, were we at 15? I don't know, but dropping several units. Fortunately, the Kadai continue to move forward and will now start obliterating this unit of Gabo archers. and hopefully the blunderbusses won't be able to fire into them. Though it looks like they were going to give it a try, we will be able to charge them with our Chaos Dwarf Warriors as well as our Hobgob Sneaky Gits and tie them up. Most of the reinforcing army is now done for. We got a very nice kill box here. We can see the massive pile of corpses left over from the from where they attempted to charge our battle line. And by the looks of it, we were able to disable most of the enemy blunderbusses with the exception of this one that nearly destroyed our Kadai here fairly effectively. Lovely, there we go with that. The battle is ours. The enemy army will break in the last of their factories, assuming that we can actually reach the tower, will be bent to Drazhoath and the Legion of Azgorh's purpose instead. Alrighty, a close victory and a very, very nice fight. And I know that it doesn't seem like we took a lot of damage, but once again, it's what happens when you lose a lot of HP but don't lose a lot of models, because the models recover the HP at the end of the battle. For example, the Cremation Corps were down to like a quarter of their HP close to the end there before they got a reforge, and despite that they recovered because they still had 12 of their units. And gotta watch out for those blunderbusses though, as they did deal heavy damage to them. Although at 27k they still managed to rack up plenty of kills. Hell's Bells did fantastic, 41k damage, but that's hardly surprising in this particular situation. And otherwise, well, the Chaos Dwarf Warriors are mostly holding a line, so they were doing what they were supposed to be doing. Now we could recover to full, but I just can't say no to 606 labor, because who knows when we're going to get battle heavy times again, and we got to take as much advantage of it right now as we can. So transport those captives, please. Alright, this guy's going to back off, and I wonder if he's close enough. Ooh, well, that's a question. Are we able to? We are able to reach the Tower of Azgorh. There's not much there, and we can destroy him. I do still have that artillery piece. I don't think that we're going to be able to steal it. Ooh, Granite Guard, nice. I don't think that we're going to be able to steal it, however. I think what we can do is... Okay, you have a Veteran C4 and you have a Veteran C2. Technically, we're getting rid of both of those units, so the levels on them don't matter over much. So I guess we'll merge them and then delete one and then attack the place with only 19 units, which will hopefully give us a chance for Steelies. I don't think so, but who knows. Next up, ooh, Flames of Azgorh, perfect. Okay, so we'll do that, but we'll hit the place. Like so. And then auto-resolve, and let's hope that it doesn't kill off a bunch of our units. No, it's alright. Alright, a little bit of damage on Draj, surprisingly, but we're fine, and then we'll occupy the place as tower, without spending influence at this time. And yeah, as expected, no artillery steelies, though I don't know if it's actually even possible with an auto-resolve. Anyway, we'll delete the Hobgob mustering camp here, and we will probably want to upgrade those ramparts, though there's probably a good argument to be made for waiting until we have the Mines of Gorgoth, rather. Nice Tormentor Sword pickup. That'll be good for one of our big ranged armies. And by moving far enough away from our capital, we got Seasoned Campaigner relatively early, which is nice. House of Ball destroyed. And Draj. Are you so hurt that you can't fight your quest battle right now? I am tempted by that. We could pop the Blazing Beards of Bajorak and the Granite Guard both into your army and just go. Of course, that would mean deleting another unit, like one of the Hobgob Archers, perhaps. They were all going to go eventually. And then, of course, we'll transfer the Granite Guard and the Blunderbusses to a different army later, once we have Fire Glaives and Infernal Guard to replace the regular guys. Though that's another 700 gold per turn. Especially the Granite Guard, they're such a cool looking unit. They just have such a, they look so fantastic because they're blunderbusses, but they're not wearing Chaos Warrior armor. They're wearing Infernal Guard armor, plus colored like granite, which is just absolutely fantastic. I'd love an entire army looking like them. In fact, yeah, now I'm too excited about it. Let's merge you guys. Let's delete you. And let's pop in both of you. And we're gonna fight the quest battle in a second. The quest battle will also do the reward for us, I assume, or will it? Ah, no, it won't. For Chaos Dwarfs, you don't get the usual reward as you do an SFO that gives you control and casualty replenishment rate. I didn't care about the control, but the casualty replenishment rate. I really, really want it right now. Oh, it would have been so helpful. We do get the influence, but considering we don't have easy ways to get the casualty replenishment rate, it's a bit unfortunate. But what can you do? Anyway, let's complete whatever admin we need to do this turn to spread out the battle. Oh, you can reach Pig Barter in one bound. That's beautiful. Go for it. And then we shall do so. Like so. And build up some stuff. You're at the edge of your range, and we have to get this army in to help out anyway, which I imagine... Yeah, I can't reach the place. That's fine. We'll get as close as we can like this with a nice underway stance and proceed here. I also want to double-check the Overseers. Still irate in a dust, eh? Let me just get the needful one on the field. I just want to double check the others. Vengeful is okay for you personally, but Needful is just generally super useful. Built to the army because of armor, and to the faction because additional items, which are all necessary. Alright, I guess we're getting you on the field of Rogni the Grey. We'll start you up here at Magpie Town so that, depending on what these guys have here, we can attack them. Alright. And we'll do fire because it's the only option. I would like to do metal. Well, we'll have one of each at some point. Anyway, let's do fire. Alright, and I guess... Oh, we should wait a turn before we start recruiting. Oh, we have access to our first Bull Centaur render unit and our first Great Taurus, eh? They are expensive, but they're... Yes, alright. We will maybe ferry some over there, all the way over here. But that does remind me, we do have these guys now. We lost the bully one, which I think I'd prefer to what is here, though temperamental isn't bad either. Because it gives you unbreakable. I wonder, do these guys in their skill points get, what was it, flesh to health or whatever the regeneration trait is? Because if they do, then temperamental with the blood greed and the unbreakable is fantastic. But if they don't, then maybe bully is better for the additional HP. Anyway, we'll take a look at those guys once we're ready. For now, let's see what we got. Now, we do want to upgrade the ash level or ore level or whatever. It will give us another Infernal Castellan. At 2.7k, it's not bad. I think we'll do it. We'll ignore the armaments thing out of the Grand Manufactory for now, but we're getting there. We do have enough raw materials to probably upgrade at least one of our locations as well. At least I think. Okay, Magpie Town's not quite ready. Oh, right, I wanted to upgrade these things. Let's do... It's basically going to be all of them, isn't it? All of our cash. Huh. Oh, we could immediately do... You know what? Let's immediately do this. I changed my mind about waiting. Well, no, it'll still reduce it by 2 turns, so we'll not be losing anything. And the thing I'm worried about is that we're at war with these guys right now, the Darkland Bandits, so they could move south down the causeway and attack us, and they don't want to peace out, despite the fact that they're fighting all those rats. Huh. And we're fighting the Drippin' Fangs. Or, wait, no, we're fighting somebody very near to the Drippin' Fangs, these guys. Grey Hag. And the Drippin' Fangs are only fighting the Darkland Bandits. Alright, well, we have no choice but to ignore them for now. Anyway. Back to you, Kent. We could increase our armaments, but I think we're okay there. We are going for gold. How's our... Well, the raw material influx is great right now, and I think we don't want to lower it anymore. So we're going to hold off on any increase to armaments and gold sluices right now, because if we spend a few turns getting this, we'll be able to upgrade all of our towers to higher levels, and I think that'll be pretty critical for us. So we'll ignore that. We can upgrade the mines, and I think we could still do so, but I think we'll start with the Plains of Grief because, well, we're already here. Like so, underground caverns, and then I guess we'll do this, the production plant. Here, just to upgrade the miner's tool shop, as we are now generating a fair bit of raw materials in this particular province. And I think that's otherwise more or less good. We can save the rest of the cash, and I'd really like to upgrade these, but they're so expensive by virtue of gold being cheap for us. Alright, now, time for that quest battle, now that we've done the immense. So, I'll leave the settlement. I know you're damaged, but hey, it'll make the quest a little bit more fun, I'm sure. Hopefully I'm not getting overconfident here. I didn't see what kind of army these guys have. Ooh, that's interesting. The enemy army is supposedly greater than ours. I wonder what reinforcements are expected. I guess we're about to find out. Let's give this a read. The Uskalar, the undead, roam the deltas of the river Ruin. No doubt, hey, that's my favorite river. No doubt due to the magical effluent being carried downstream and mixing with the countless bodies that litter the muddy and caustic river mouth where it meets the Sea of Storms. The Ashen usually pays no heed to such meager inconveniences, but recent attacks on his laborers are now posing a real threat to the supply lines. A direct military response is now imperative. Alright, should be pretty fun. Oh my. That's got a lot more concerning than I was expecting it to. We got a Hyro Titan, a Cambrian War Sphinx, in addition to the Vargulf there. A couple of Shabti, Blood Knights. Vargas, a lot of tier 5 stuff. Okay, looks like we've got ourselves a challenge. I love it. Let's see if we can pull this off, shall we? Go.
Una dis Goris Prodni. Anil Tuesdem is Udi Tadok Nosink Bahras Azkal. Tale Generas Azgorh Data Kazak. Mimda Nei Peritas Anon Zatama.
Alrighty, here we go. This is going probably to be concerningly difficult. I was not expecting that level of reinforcements, but it was too late to back out once we began the teleportation. I mean, sure, we could have declined the battle, but, you know, we're committed. It's happening, regardless. Anyway, and since it's going to be a fairly difficult battle, we'll have to be relatively careful about our positioning. It does look like we have a choke point available to us, but unfortunately, I've never played this quest before, and so I have no idea where the enemy reinforcements might be coming in. If they come in from behind us, especially with those Blood Knights, our line would probably get obliterated. So, the name of the game is trying to sort of disperse our formation and protect as many of our units as possible using the impassable terrain. We'll use this this little rocky formation as our wall and essentially hide up upon it, and then use this one as well rather than being further out here. And then the other aspect of this will be to keep enough distance from all of our units to allow the relatively slow moving Chaos Dwarf infantry to react as needed, because well, the enemy has a lot more fast moving units in this particular situation than we do, and we gotta be careful about it. Also, we've got our 2 regiments of renown now, so we've got the Blazing Beards of Bajarak, a unit of Chaos Dwarf warriors. They won't be staying in this particular army, at least not forever, once we have Iron Sworn, but they will be leading whichever army we use to essentially, well, lead a standard sort of Chaos Dwarf warrior stack. And then we have the Granite Guard. These guys look just so freaking fantastic. I just gotta say, once again, I've already said it, but you gotta be, if we could just use this sort of look for the entire army, it would be just glorious. And yeah, it's basically blunderbusses and infernal guard armor. That's granite colored. Anyway, not to repeat myself too much. Here we go. The first enemy army is on the approaching. Looks like the ghouls will lead and rush towards us. No, still adorable as they run. And I think no one who's watching the Manfred campaign currently ongoing rather, which is absolutely fantastic in terms of sheer number of battles, would be underestimating ghouls. So we're going to gun them down as quick as we can with all the weight of fire that we have, especially as they are rather fragile. There we go. And it looks like the first unit of ghouls is pretty much done, though the remnants of it will manage to charge on forward, and we will focus the next unit or units of undead. Alright, fairly brutal amount of range fire for the enemy, at least to start off, though it looks like we are getting rapidly surrounded, and yeah, okay, maybe I should have actually blocked off these choke points, but I don't know, then we wouldn't be able to protect our flanks, and once again, I'm very wary of enemies appearing behind us. After all, that last quest battle we played, we had those frickin' miners hit us in 3 different parts of our army from every single direction. I don't want that happening again. Anyway, Black Knights attempt to charge through, and we focus them down with pretty much all of our blunderbusses at the same time and slow them with the flash bomb, which when combined with the suppression brings them down to a mere 9 speed. Terrible burning wrath from Drazhoath, unfortunately, as he tries to hit the Cairn Knights. But well, he'll come down, he'll activate his scepter to give himself magical damage, and will hopefully deal some damage to said Cairn Knights as the rest of the enemy army does approach. And does look like they will be able to close the distance. It looks like an enemy Vargulf has also made it forward, and we will be firing upon it with our fire glaives. But it does look like our line is still holding. I maybe should have waited to allow Drazhoath to heal to full before jumping into this battle, because he started below half HP. Which is going to be concerning, and it does mean we can't use him to anchor the line as much as we'd like. Considering we don't have monsters or trains or anything of that nature, it would be really helpful. Anyway, Ash Storm comes down on the pile of enemy infantry, moving in, and the Vargulf is down to half HP, though between its regeneration and hunger and the invocation of Nehek, it's going to be a while to bring it down as it continues to heal. Fortunately, the First Army's infantry are pretty much done for. The undead may not feel fear generally, unless they're facing off against Harry Hammerstorm. But this is still probably not super fun for them. Maybe they could comprehend such things. Anyway, looks like, or at the very least, the zombies and skeletons. Well, they don't have zombies. Skeletons and Graveguard. Well, actually, Graveguard probably could. Anyway, looks like an enemy, a Necromancer on a Corpse Guard attempts to move forward, and, well, the Corpse Guard is a big fat target for all of our range units, which will gun it down reasonably quickly. Now, it did take him a while to get to us, and he did manage to cast a fair few of his spells. Alright, it does look like the first set of enemy reinforcements has arrived, and it is a pile of Tomb Kings. Decent bit of infantry here, but also a unit of Tomb Scorpions and a unit of Ushabti, some chariots, another unit of Ushabti. Alright, solid amount of units, and our melee line has at the very least taken damage. We will eventually run out of melee units. So, we gotta try to whittle down as many of the enemy infantry as possible. We're gonna start with an Ash Storm, follow it up with a Flames of Azgorh, which looks absolutely beautiful. Been trying to get to this, and damn is it worth it just for the visuals alone. We're gonna follow up the Flames of Azgorh with a Dreadquake, which sort of separates the army, and the two together delete one of the enemy units of Tomb Guard and heavily damage another as well. Does look like at least a few of the enemy's Skeleton Warriors or Graveguard are still fighting, but once again, shouldn't be underestimating the Vampire Count infantry in terms of them outlasting their foe. But it does look like this army is broken, and we have to regroup, reposition, make sure that once again our army is positioned in such a way that all the units have enough space between each other. This is not what we usually do, but generally the more difficult a battle is likely to be, the more I actually bother to pay attention to line deployment, as this is a matter of actually winning the battle and not so much a matter of the army looking cool doing it, which is what we usually focus on. So yeah, the idea behind this is the enemy has a lot of annoying units with mass. Ushabti, Skeleton Chariots, Tomb Scorpion, and then the reinforcements had Blood Knights, a Hyro Titan, a Hemrian War Sphinx, I think, some other stuff. The thing is, all of those things are capable of charging through the relatively low mass units of melee infantry at the front of the formation, and if they charge through, they'll hit the back line. That means, and it will probably happen, that means that the back line needs to be far enough, each unit needs to be far enough away from each other so that no more than a single unit gets tied up when that happens each time. Anyway, back to the fight. Tomb Scorpion will be the target of our fire glaives. Gonna try to snipe it and do as much damage as possible before it moves into the cover of this rocky formation. Of course, our magma cannons continue to fire away, and it does look like the enemy has some flyers in the form of Carrion, who are starting to move towards us. Not able to knock any of them out of the sky with our magma cannons, but that's alright. The magma cannons were aiming at the Tomb Guard anyway, who are very slowly on the approach, and we got to do as much damage to them as possible. Gotta love lighting up the darkness with all of these fire abilities and attacks, though. Pretty darn entertaining. Unit of Carrion is flying on in. We're going to try to knock it out of the sky with our blunderbusses, and here we've targeted and heavily damaged the Ushabti and are now following up on the Tomb Scorpion. We all know, I'm sure, how irritating Tomb Scorpions are. They're very difficult to bring down, and so we are sparing no expense. A Vial of Hashut, minus 40 armor, weakness to fire damage, Shield Breaker, Ash Storm slowing it down and more weakness to fire damage, and even Flash Bomb to slow it down further. Its speed is only 13, and as long as it can't get into melee range, it can't use that irritating burrow ability that it has. I'm very wary of the ability simply because our blunderbusses wouldn't be able to hit it while it was being annoying and burrowing around. Anyway, it does look like a decent portion of the enemy Tomb Guard and chariots and stuff still managed to make their way through. See, the chariots charge right past those melee infantry and start distracting our Granite Guard instead. Fortunately, the Granite Guard have those big old axes of theirs, and they do send the chariots backing off, and we'll try to chase them down with either Kadai or with a Drazhoath. Kadai are also a little bit busy trying to block off the enemy Ushabti, and the battle continues. And okay, let's see what we're looking at. Our melee line is heavily damaged now. The Chaos Dwarf Warriors are dwindling in number and leadership as well. And we are starting to run a little bit light on ammo on a few things. Less than half on the magma cannons. And the Hobgob archers are nearly out as well. And the enemy reinforcements, hopefully the last reinforcements arrive. A Necrarch Vampire Lord riding a zombie dragon, Vargeists, Blood Knights, and a bunch of Graveguard. Pyro Titan, Necrotect, and as a Cameron War Sphinx, another unit of Skeleton Archers. So this is a lot. I don't know whether our melee line is going to be able to hold, but I guess we'll do our best. Blazing Beards of Basharak down to 30% of their HP. One of the other Chaos Dwarf Warriors down to very low as well. And it's starting to get dangerous. Yes, the blunderbusses and the fireglaves are extremely dangerous as well, but not if the enemy can charge through our lines and tie them all up. Still a few Tomb Guard moving in. We gotta make sure we try to clear the path for the range units to fire. Here comes another unit of Ushabti charging into those Chaos Warriors. Gonna use the Infernal Castellan to hold the flank here, even with the magma cannons firing to support him. Alright, and here come the Tomb Kings, rather, which are in the lead. We can see on the other side the Vampire Count's army moving, but it looks like they're not sending their fast movers up ahead of the rest of the army. It looks like they're keeping pace, by and large, with the Graveguard, which is, if they do, that'll be really helpful to us, because we really don't want to be fighting on any more fronts here. This is already extremely iffy. Chaos Dwarf Warriors are very much in trouble now. And I'll probably take sufficient hits from our own blunderbusses to the back and such, and we'll probably break. There they go, but it was necessary as we need to try to knock these Ushabti out. Gonna slow them down a little bit more with yet another Ash Storm, and do the same to the Cameron War Sphinx, who we will also try to focus down with blunderbusses and with fireglaves. Funny thing, the Ash Storm always makes the battles look really cinematic as well. The lighting scheme is pretty darn cool, and it actually makes a lot of the enemy units look a lot better as well. You can get in some of those fancy shots. And look at all those fiery projectiles all over the place. The Cameron War Sphinx absolutely towering over our formation and dropping those Chaos Dwarf Warriors in droves. Back here, we have used our second and last use of our Dreadquake Mortar, which by the looks of it does decent damage, about maybe 30% of the HP to a couple of the units of the Tomb Guard, and of course our magma cannons will continue laying down their fire. Vargeists have finally detached from the enemy army and have moved forward and are going to touch down upon some of our blunderbusses and tie them up, but this is once again exactly why we keep the blunderbusses far enough away from each other. Blood Knights are in as well and are actually going to join the Ushabti in charging into the Chaos Warriors. I gotta cheer for the Blood Knights at least a little bit. because vampires will always be my favorite, but this is very, very dangerous now. Not sure that these guys will be able to bring those guys down very easily, and still enemies moving through. Darn Cameron War Sphinx decides to ride around, which means a lot of those shots go wide and do miss it, but we do have to keep focusing it down as best we can. And now, the Cameron War Sphinx is supporting the Blood Knights and Dushabte, so we're going to try to drown them in bodies, gonna send in the remnants of our Hobgob Sneaky Gits, as well as a few of our rallying and Chaos Dwarf Warriors to try to tie them up. Just long enough for them to take damage. One of the Chaos Dwarf blunderbusses is routing now. And let's see, we got another unit. The Demented Downsizers are routed and are, well, they are rallying. The Blazing Beards of Bajorak severely damaged and probably wouldn't survive a charge. And it looks like the Blood Knights are backing off to get a cycle charge going. The other army is moving in as well, and by the looks of it, this is going to be close. The bounce power remains in the enemy's favor, and pretty much all of our infantry, our melee infantry, are done. So this will be decided at range, plus the units that we're going to substitute for melee. The Hobgob Archers are now going to act as enemies, and oh wow, Zombie Dragon Breath comes down, instantly destroys completely the unit of Hobgoblin Sneaky Gits, and that's one less melee unit that we really could not afford to lose. Are we going to be able to pull this off? I don't know. This isn't good. Cameron War Sphinx down to 10% of its HP. A couple more volleys from the blunderbusses, and it will collapse at last just as the zombie dragon lands, and by the looks of it, seeks to tie up another unit of blunderbusses. Unfortunately, with the charge of the Blood Knights in combination with the Tomb Guard with halberds, the Kadai are down to 4 units and have begun to melt away. We don't have enough reforge available to us, and though they managed to hold back those Blood Knights for at least a little while, and by the looks of it, it won't be enough, and they won't be able to back off, and it looks like they'll just slowly melt away. Can't do anything about giving them extra leadership, and even though we had 4 remaining, the instability will destroy the unit. Alright, that's also not so good. Still have to deal with those bloody Blood Knights who are still at about half HP. We're trying to commit as many resources as we can to dealing with them, and the balance of power remains in the enemy's favor. For once, rare use of the Curse of Hashut on the Blood Knights to try to just dish out as much damage as possible to those enemies and prevent them from, well, trying to prevent them from doing anything. We still have 2 units of blunderbusses still firing, and Glare of Azgorh, our units of fire glaives, are trying to go after the skeleton chariots, which have charged through, blocking 1 unit of chaos blunderbusses, but it looks like they're attempting to ignore them and stop our magma cannons from firing instead, which is interesting. The magma cannons are only trying to support fire against the Graveguard here, because right now it's mostly enemy range units that we're dealing with. I'm gonna pop another debuff on the enemy Blood Knights, a Dark Subjugation to lower their melee defense down to 23, as they have charged in to our fire glaives, but they are anti-large in melee, and with the Dark Subjugation upon the enemy, should still be able to dish out decent damage to them. Or at least I hope, because this is not so good. And on top of that, here comes a full HP Hyro Titan to join the fray. He's actually been dropping spells as he's been on the approach. Those Spirit Leeches and those darn, I don't want to say Gaze of Nagash, but the opposite. The Gems Burning Gaze. I assume it's used at least 1, possibly 2. Balance of power is still in the enemy's favor. Melee units, some of them have rallied and are back, but almost all of our range units are now tied up. Fortunately, it looks like the Blood Knights are pretty much done at last, with only 1 remaining, and it looks like is attempting to chase down our now routing Castellan, but won't survive due to not enough HP. Just like our own Kadai, or destroy the enemy will crumble. Time to start focusing down that big old Hyro Titan. We brought down giants before, and these things are just as, if not more, tanky. 20% physical resistance and 10% missile. And of course they're distracting some units at the same time as well. Balance of power is still in the enemy's favor. Our units are routing or being destroyed in droves now. Although the enemy is starting to run out of infantry as well, and soon it'll just be monsters versus what remains of our range. Alright, Grave Guard back into the fray. I like this color scheme as well. Sort of makes their clothes look like they're Straight from the grave. Just got dug up. Can't quite tell what color it is, sort of like dirty non-color, you know what I mean? Alright, looks like the balance of power has shifted just slightly in our favor to 60% now with the enemy infantry gone. The chariots are trying to destroy the magma cannons, but fortunately there's very few of them remaining and they're having a tough time actually knocking out those units. A couple of our units of blunderbusses have rallied, hurt though they are, and there's that other Shem's Burning Gaze going to hit Drazhoath, who is attempting to escape from the enemy lord. We're going to drop another Curse of Hashut on him to hopefully deal at least a little bit of damage while we continue attempting to escape. The Hyro Titan does go down at last. The souls that were animating it will leave, and only the enemy lord remains. Will he be able to destroy Drazhoath? Drazhoath is just going to continue trying to escape. We just have to gun the big boy down, which it looks like we do manage to pull off. And with that, I do believe the last of the units of the 4 frickin' armies are done, and the Pyrrhic victory is ours. That was a 20-minute long battle, essentially. Probably a little bit shorter, plus commentary, but I did slow it down a couple of times to say a few things, but nearly 20-minute long battle, and we just barely survived. What a fight. Wow, I barely have words. That was one of the toughest and most fun battles I have ever had the pleasure of playing in this game. This is the kind of battle you play the game for. Damn, that was tough. It was absolutely down to the wire. At the end there, we got overwhelmed. We lost the cremation core, though we'll bring them back. They definitely served our purpose well. They wouldn't have died if we had more Reforge available. Really need that extra Demon Smith, but damn, that was fun. And yeah, I perhaps got a little cocky going against this force. A lot of single entities and stuff. We did manage to pull it off, but it took a lot of effort. Damn. Oh, that was so good. Anyway, I'm going to go with transport captives here. Let's check out the damage at 43k 317 and kills, employee relations, cleaned house. Hell's Bells 84k damage on the on that magma cannon. Solid work out of the Glare of Azgorh as well as usual. Blazing Beards of Bajorag really did help, as unfortunately our basic Chaos Warriors did rout and run a little bit more than we'd perhaps like. Perhaps not surprisingly, considering what they were up against and the disparity in unit quality, using tier 2s against tier 5s in some cases. But yeah, damn. Honestly, I'd love to play that battle again. That would be just, it was so fun. I gotta remember this quest. Can you still go through the main menu and do, like, go through quest battles and then just fight the quest separately of a campaign? Because that was really entertaining. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed that. Let's transport those captives. We'll have to get our unit back as well. We got our HELLSHARD amulet as well, which is ward save for the entire army, which is pretty darn strong, and a decent amount of money and some conclave influence as well. Lovely. You're gonna get back in here. That did not unlock anything here, unfortunately, but that's all good. You also leveled up twice off of that, which makes sense. You have Flames of Azgorh now, which did come in handy there, though to be fair, we also didn't have enough mana to cast it too many times. I'm gonna say go with Tyrant right now, just for the extra post-battle loot and labor gained, because we're probably going to need it. And our labor is, if not fixed itself, is a lot better than it once was. Noblar Hills. Alright, let's take a quick look at you. You are in trouble in terms of public order. Well, that's probably not going to change for now anyway. And it's not like you... yeah, it's not like we need to transfer stuff. Alright. Where's the efficiency issue then? Mount Azgorh. We will transfer 500 here. Yeah, I'll definitely transfer 500 here. Also, Mines of Azgorh, probably another outpost, I'd say. Or would it be better as another factory? I'm going to say another outpost here, at least for now. We'll actually be generating a lot of raw materials here, won't we? If we put another factory, we wouldn't have room for both gold panners and the armaments thing. I guess we could just double up on gold panners and then make this a factory as well, and then get 2 of the tools manufactories, simply because we already have the raw materials which will be flowing out of the volcanic deposits, and additional raw materials flowing out of the marble quarry, which will actually make these things worth building, which oftentimes they don't seem to be. That said, I don't know, I'll think about it, doesn't matter all that much. Or it will, but it doesn't matter all that much immediately. You're gonna get some troops in your army. Oh, and we'll need to rebuild the Kadai building since we lost our one Kadai unit. Alright, just, oh lord, look at our casualty replenishment rate. Yeah, this is why we wanted that replenishment rate. Oh man, that's not great. Just get a couple laborers in here. You know what, frankly, it's a waste of 600 gold. They're not gonna do too much for this army. Well, let's see. Let's level you up. Extra powder, at least we've acquired that. And I guess now that we have extra powder, restock would have been somewhat helpful in this particular battle, though I think a melee defense would have been helpful as well. I do think that we maybe want to go through to We Are the Elite now for that missile damage, because we are starting to rank up, and the Granite Guard should be able to take advantage of it immediately as well. Alright. Back to the building and trying to decide what we want to build. Could have, funnily enough, a Deathstreaker rocket launcher would have actually been quite helpful in that battle, but I don't think we want to waste the armaments on it as yet. I feel like there was something I wanted to spend our raw materials on. Oh, these things are being built. We got the treasure troves, we were... Oh, right, this place. And we can upgrade these things. Oh, okay, we can upgrade one of these things. They're still stupid expensive. Alright, let's upgrade the basic Overseer's camp here. We will also... Bajarak mine. I mean, I guess we can get the mines workshop here if we're not going to go for armaments. Although, funnily enough, we will... Wait. Iron... A moment. Does iron just directly generate armaments? And it says armaments output plus 15%. I assume that's specifically from this particular place and not from anything in the settlement, right? Yes, I mean... wait. We have one being built here. I just wanted to see whether it would have any effect upon the settlement. Anyway, I guess we'll save the raw materials, the remaining raw materials, for an upgrade. I do want to, however, take the last industry seat. I know we're close to 150, and for example, grabbing one of these, X out that industry seat, get that active convoy, or possibly the... let's do again. Unit capacity every 4 turns. We got Blood and Fireborn. That would be useful. Instead of replacing our Kadai, we would also be able to summon them on field. But I think I just want the percentages right now. Who knows how long it's going to take before our other Chaos Dwarf friends grab this place. There we go. And that'll increase our output. Then we'll want to... Wait, Nobler Country. You're already getting the plus 20 public order for our plus 15 public order? Yeah, you are. Huh, go figure. Alright, I guess we'll transfer 300 to here. So 1, probably from here, 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, 3. And the labor surplus must be 0 to accept... Oh. Yeah, sure, I have 400. There we go. And I guess we will want to pop the control here as well, Mount Azgorh. Yeah, go for it, set an example. Which means we can also transfer a little bit more, because otherwise it would... start to be inefficient. Let's do this and transfer. Like so. Alright, more or less good. Now, how much are we losing here? 52 is not so bad. 102 here. Is there anything here that we really want to rush? I mean, I guess if we were to rush the construction of this... the rush of this, and then immediately get the get another strip mine here. Construction cost / creator. This would also allow us to upgrade the Hobgoblin bivouacs if we wanted. For other stuff in this territory. Ooh. Now we need you to get to tier 3. Yeah, we really need the towers up to tier 3, which means we need more of the growth. You know what? Do this. I know it's only 1 turn. But do it anyway. And that'll put our labor up to 900. We can start upgrading the mine shaft here and then transfer a teensy bit more to the dire bogs. From here. And from, let's say, here. Like so. Alright, that's a little better and more spread out. I believe we're good to go to end the turn. That battle took a while, though. We're nearing the end of the episode. I don't want to spend any armaments on this as yet, but there's a decent likelihood we'll be spending some of them over the next couple of turns. Unassigned skill points, building upgrades available. Ignore all that. Let's go to next turn, shall we? Well, darn, would you look at that. The death toll ogres will attack our allies, the Paladin Nurslings. This is the second time the Paladin Nurslings will draw us into a war. Well, at least we were going to start building an army here anyway. I can't believe everybody's attacking the frickin' Paladin Nurslings. We should probably kill them. They're causing problems for us. Twice. I mean, we could decline, that'll kill our reliability, but that's probably not something we want, as we do want some allies on our borders. So we'll enter war, and I'll have to be careful about how we deal with this. Enter war instead of ally. And I'll probably cancel our agreement with them shortly. And then kill them off. Too bad we can't vassalize and then immediately declare war to bypass the situation. Anyway. Yeah, we're gonna have to spend a fair bit of money. This is an ogre force, so well, they'll be quite vulnerable to the Hobgob archers, which means we can use Vrongni the Grey with maybe some Chaos Dwarf warriors just to hold back, although we need anti-large. Well, actually that depends. We don't know just how many of the Chaos Ogres, just how many of the ogres will be ogres and how many will be nobblers, as in from their faction. Anyway, turns just about done. And it looks like these guys didn't sally out. Alright, what else do we have here? The Convoy. A Hobgoblin Wolf Raider is being readied to ride out with a resupply of improved Hellforge armory surplus for the Convoy. While ensuring he delivers as much as his scrawny frame can carry, we also need to decide which equipment will give the Convoy the greatest chance of successfully repelling any threats. It's obviously armor and melee defense, no question about it, for every single thing in here, and they're superior to melee attack and weapon strength. Pretty much always. Sturdier armor. Tower of Jar, Zatan's cruelty, and technology research. Hey, Demonsmith capacity. Yes, we need it. Funnily enough, nothing to reforge anymore. But, well, you know what we could do? We could build a Kadai building here and try to quick upgrade this place. And it seems like the way to go. Fortunately, you can't reach the mines, but that's alright. We'll probably want to heal up for a turn anyway, so you'll go into encamp stance, heal faster, take the mines, and then we'll build the place. And what do we have here? Hellbound standard for war machines. Great, though we don't have skullcrackers or anything of that nature, so not super useful yet. Zatan took the capacities. For bull centaurs, Kadai, or flying monsters, that's fine, doesn't bother me right now. We don't have the money to get any of the, or too many advanced units as yet. We need another army. It's gonna have to be prioritized. And we haven't encountered these guys' armies. They were fighting several factions, though, and they might have lost their main stack to Clan Ricket, which would explain what happened there. Does this place have walls? Yes, it does. Alright. So I guess we'll use you. Yeah, you go here. Leech this. I was kind of hoping that if we were to take Pig Barter with middle management Stormbreaker, we'd be able to move Kuntij up here towards Arrowhawk Roost. But if we don't have Siege Attacker, which you don't, then it won't work. Well, I guess what we could do is we could sack the place out, but... And it is a capital anyway. And the public order will be an issue, and in fact it already is an issue, but let's face it, that's probably not going to change either. We can counteract it somewhat. Yeah, I think that's what we'll do. We'll go here, we'll auto-resolve this, for obvious reasons. And we can't waste the turn now that we're at war with the ogres, meaning we have to sack, and then occupy his tower. The instability is going to be an issue for a long time if we do this. Is it worth it? Is it worth dealing with that much instability? And just to get this, it actually might not be. too much of a hassle. Damn, okay, fine. Occupy this tower. I hope I don't come to regret this. And how are you doing? Level 4, meaning you have one more turn or one more level up until you get Harsh Master and you're able to take control of this army. Gordoz, you have been looking for a fight. Let's get you... Well, I'd love to buff him up. I really would. But there's just... We have to upgrade his entire army first. And you know what? Well, actually, replenish troops... I could use it. It's not hordes. That's fine. At least for now. You, my friend, are going to go for Flaming Sword of Ruin to buff the entire army, and then we'll grab Kindle Flame and Cascading Fire Cloak right after. Next up, we've got Vrangni the Grey, who's supposed to start recruiting, minus the fact that I once again forgot to... Well, we should technically switch stuff. Also, who's down here? Ooh, hello. Malice.
I only deal
Huh.
two commodities.
Hmm.
And power.
It's a potential ally. If we allow Malice to stick around here, we take all of this territory, he'd protect to this border. The other thing is, one of the problems that the Chaos Dwarf roster has is it has no auras, essentially, and in terms of buffing their units. We have Guardian, I believe, on the Bull Centaur Taurox, but I don't think we have many other auras. I think some of them have a couple negative auras. I want to say... Yeah, Infernal Ironsworn have Enfeeble Attack. What I'm saying is we could try to get some Bloodwrack Cauldrons from Malice if he's willing to be friends. He doesn't like us a crazy amount due to the aversion. Would he be willing to non-aggress if we declare war on the Thunderguts? I wonder how powerful the Thunderguts are. Oh, is this all Thunderguts territory? That's a big old territory. We could try to piece them out with them later. Let's give it a try. I think we'll do this. I don't know if it's a bad idea, but I do think... well, we also want to probably ally with some ogres, but it is what it is. I don't want to be fighting Malice right now at this current time. And he would be a nice potential ally. Also, trade Heralds of the Tempest. Good. Alright, we'll start with Gormadni tribe because they're willing to give us money. We care about the non-aggression pact with him? I don't think we don't. I think we care about the money more. Alright, let's do that. And then Heralds of the Tempest will be willing to trade as well. Alright. A little bit more money flowing. And I still don't know where Clan Ricket is, so I'm not sure this is helpful. We still have that non-aggression pact with them, but, well, I guess we'll ignore it for now. I mean, I guess if we have to cancel the non-aggression pact, we technically have to cancel that anyway. You know what? We'll check. We'll see how the Dark Elves feel. Oh, they're actually fairly friendly. Yeah, alright. Let's do this then. More money. And hopefully that'll also make Malice like us a little bit more, possibly get his units. Ballad Nurslings, you know what? Fine. We'll take the mission. Ooh. This allows... Oh, wow. They have 2 lords here at Fort Death Toll. Oh, that's not good. Actually, 1. And it's a weaker one, judging by the allegiance cost. You know what? I'm going to keep this. I'm not going to take the mission, and we can use this to try to figure out where the enemy is. Call it intelligence. Technologies. We have the hero capacity for the Demonsmith Sorcerer now. And I think, let's see, we can increase Tauric capacity. Control +2? Yes, okay, that's what we're doing. Definitely going to try to get control +2 ASAP. There's probably a few other really useful things around here, but take a look at them later. Conclave influences a +70. Yeah, I don't like either of these. Global recruitment capacity and then undivided corruption. The thing about spamming Industry District is this. As soon as we can unlock the tier 3, we can do this. Procurator will give us construction cost -2 per industry seat. It's not crazy, but an additional like 10, 12, 14, whatever construction cost we get for this will be helpful, plus the additional control. It seems like industry is the way to go for us in particular, which kind of makes sense also. What with the whole armaments thing that Drazhoath is about. Anyway, Vrangni. I guess we have no choice but to start recruiting here, do we? I guess we build the battlements? Well, wait. Well, we gotta wait until we build this thing here, so yeah, well, battlements probably should be built here. We also really don't want to lose Magpie Town, which is barely defended, unfortunately. Alright, so... I was going to replace, you know what? We're gonna build the ironworks here. Or, yeah, build the ironworks. At least this way you'll be able to get some cannonry. We were going to replace it out of this location anyway. Oh, we can actually put you up to tier 4. That might even be a higher priority because it'll give us access to fire glaives and stuff. Yes, at the loss of a Kadai, but... Hey, you know what? Let's go gun turrets. Let's do that. And our money is okay per turn right now, so we will have enough to get another army going. Let's build whatever we can here. We're gonna be risky. Let's get the tribute collectors, I guess. You know, it's not super critical, and I'm just worried that this location will be destroyed. I guess we can get the bivouacs, and we'll have to wait until you're upgraded. And I guess in order to reduce construction costs, recruitment costs, we'll switch to military doctrine and start recruiting next turn. Just hope that these guys aren't here next turn. Well, they'll have to take 2 turns to move towards us. I suppose we can send one of these armies back there if needed, and these guys might even... No, they're not willing to peace out. Ooh, that means they probably have at least 1 army running around somewhere. Which is of concern. Which is definitely of concern. Alright, maybe end one more turn? Stupid fun game. Do you need to channel? You know what, you can channel. And... you hold off. Oh. Let's also take a look at Demon Smiths for a second. We should be able to get a new one up and running. Manipulative... Oh, we should get a fire one. I don't like the available stuff. Leadership for Chaos Dwarf Infantry is fine. What I would like is one that's compulsive, but not a Deathlore one. I think maybe we'll wait. Unless, wait. If we upgrade this and then we upgrade this, we'll be able to get another Demon Smith. We could get the Deathlore one and put him in an army. Vrogny is a caster though, so he doesn't technically need one immediately. What about Bull Centaurs? Ah, we got a bully. Alright, you know what, let's get a Bull Centaur. Expensive though he may be, he'll be nice and helpful. And I just want to double check. Do you have anything that will give us any kind of additional casualty or punishment? Doesn't look like it. We're gonna need to steal that tower seat, I think. It might actually have to be prioritized that we steal a tower seat that gives casualty or punishment rate from... Oh. Ah, would you look at that? The AI have stolen it from each other twice. That's interesting. Looks like the AI recognized the value of it, but the annoying aspect of this is that it's up to 150, so yeah. Alright, well. Back to this. Either we... Well, if we build the Grand Manufactory here, we won't need it here. We're already building the Ash level. We'll need to build the Infernal Barracks here. We also need the Altar of Fire. But as I said, we probably want to build it in the other location so that we have access to it. We could grab a Bull Centaur render as soon as we have it available. We will need to get those armies up and running. I really would like a recruiter, though. And neither of these lords... Well, I guess you have the income from all buildings in local area, which ain't horrible. But there's a much better one. I forgot what it was, but it gave us a Lord or Hero and Lord Recruit rank faction-wide, which seems like the much better pick. Anyway, let's end the turn, shall we? I'm sure there's other somewhat many stuff to do, but it's not, it's fine. We're fine. Everything's fine. Nobody panic. You know what? Get to 2 Goblin Laborers just for the auto-resolves, because we'll need to take Mines of Azgorh again. Skip, and skip the outpost. End turn. One more. I am concerned. Oh, the caravan of blue roses will attack us as well. Oh, this is getting interesting and very iffy now. Very, very iffy. We really need that extra army. Kali realized to help, I guess. Would have been funny if they took this opportunity to betray us, or maybe not so funny. We might need to build defenses at Magpie Town, innit? Interesting. This campaign is going real interesting so far. I'm very much enjoying it. Hopefully we don't lose any of the critical districts that we have in the tower right now. Astrogoth is probably eyeing them, but frankly, as long as the two keep stealing that casualty or punishment rate one from each other, I think we can I think we can snap up some other useful ones. And yeah, if we are defending, we might need we might need to get some of the defensive type districts. The Dreadquake and Own Territory district, which other ones would have been very useful to us? There's 2 army ability ones as well, Flames of Jar, or Wrath of Jar, or Wrath of Jarduk, I don't remember what the thing is. The Cannon Fire one. And then there's another one. It's a considerable power up to our fairly sparsely defended settlements, so certainly something to be considered. Anyway, we're down to 329 factions. As we can see, the end turns are still 8 million years, but they're not nearly as bad as they were when we started. What do we have here? Elf fight, eh? It does seem like fun. Certainly not something we've done yet. Do we do one more fight? This episode is going to go real long. Okay. Unfortunate wretches of many races toil amid the poisoned air and burning ash of the Darklands. Yet while out on assignment, even our convoy knows not to pass up the opportunity to attain more of the right tools for the job. Having encountered a high elf host from whom much profit could be forcibly reaped, both in long-limbed laborers and loot reaped from beardless corpses. Yes, fight them. I probably should do this fight next episode, but I won't, because I feel like it. You know, I am going to quick save this, because the episode's running long, and frankly, if the game crashes now and I lose that amazing battle, I'll be very disappointed, because frankly, I want to watch it myself, and see if I could have played it better. Or just straight up play it again if I can via the quest menu. But anyway, let's do this thing now. Should be fun. Go. Alright, here we go. Just a smaller fight. A little break from the big old quest battle, though the enemy does have 4 more units in their army than ours does, so we do still have to be careful. And of course, they also have 2 of those units of war lines, which are fast movers, which we don't have any of our own to respond quickly to them, as our main line is gonna be quite slow. Anyway, as usual, well, same as the other convoy, we're gonna start the battle off by sending our Black Dragon forward to try to get its first Black Dragon Breath down. We're actually going to focus some of the enemy melee units, the spears, and it looks like we'll be able to not quite hit either one fully, but clip both of them and take about half of their HP, so it essentially comes to the same thing. Then the dragon is going to push on through and try annoying some of the Lothern Sea Guard, charging them, and then perhaps even the enemy lord, just generally trying to annoy as many enemies as possible and prevent them from joining sort of the main fight. Out here we got to try to focus down those war lines as best they can. Unfortunately for us, they have 40% missile resistance due to their lion pelt, as well as 10% physical resistance as well, so our range damage is very lackluster against them, and we might not be able to punish them enough to prevent them from charging in. A bit of a shame that, but we're just going to have to deal with it. We have very limited units, and the enemy outnumbers us, so we will have to essentially use our lord as a single unit, as we don't have much of a choice in the matter. And he'll have to serve as a distraction for that one unit, because every single other unit of ours is busy. The dragon has suffered a little bit of damage, dropping by about 10% of its HP, and will back off as it is now getting chased by those war lines, while we try to focus down as many of the enemy range units as we can, as they have started to dish out damage to some of our units. Gotta remember that actually, so surprisingly decent damage to the Fireglaves here, who have lost about 30% of their HP. I was about to say the regular blunderbusses aren't as armored, but we even have the armor bonuses. Yeah. Alright, looking a little bit dangerous for some of the units. Black Dragon continues to move away and is attempting to just back out and lift up, but it refuses to do so, with only the war lines nipping at its tail. Alright, that's not so good, Dragon. You gotta lift off, man. You just lost another, like, 20% of your HP. Would be real unfortunate to lose the Black Dragon here, but, well, I can't do much if it won't lift off. Alrighty, well, it's going to continue attempting to escape while we deal with the rest of the enemy troops. It does look like the spears are charging forth, but fortunately for us, that just means proximity to the blunderbusses, which slower in vanilla, but still surely enough will destroy the enemy, or at least destroy these charging spears. The other unit of Warlines has managed to charge, but the Chaos Warriors did stop them, and it'll be a little bit of a duel in between these two units. Watch them fight a little bit. Warlines do have armor piercing on them, but they are fragile enough in melee so that this should be a relatively even fight, and in fact, if the enemy doesn't do any cycle charging, should in theory go the Chaos Dwarf Warriors away. Speaking of Chaos Dwarf Warriors, our other unit, and oh no, the dragon. Oh, okay, it routed, and the fact that it routed allowed it to lift off, but it lost an unnecessary like 60% of its HP to do so. Darn those lions. But well, at the very least, it's actually keeping this little smaller convoy battle interesting, though, you know, frankly, all the convoy battles have been interesting so far. The smaller armies fighting each other means every single unit, every single position, every single decision counts all that much more. It also does mean we have trouble with some units. Once again, no fast movers to react quickly to those war lines who charge on in, ignoring our Chaos Dwarf Warriors and going straight for the blunderbusses. Unlike the Chaos Dwarf Warriors, the blunderbusses will get wrecked very, very rapidly and are nearly destroyed. And it looks like the Warlines will ignore these two units, ignore the two Fire Glaives, which would obliterate them in melee, and instead charge into the rear of the other unit of Dwarf Blunderbusses. Very good use of the Warlines here by the AI. If the enemy didn't have as many archer units, I would have probably set up a boxy formation somewhere on the map, but wouldn't have helped against the sheer amount of range that the enemy has. Our dragon's back, and while it did rout, it does have its breath back up and running, which is a nice hit into the boxy formation of Lothran Seaguard and obliterates the unit pretty much. The bounce power shifts in our favor. The lions are still fighting, though not for long, and looks like our lord has managed to tie them up at least a few seconds. Hopefully a couple more volleys from the Fire Glaives and a couple more hits from the Overseer's axe, and the lions will book it on out of there. Alright, spears are just about done as well, though fighting near to the end here, hardly surprising as they were engaged with a unit of blunderbusses. And let's see how we're doing. Well, the enemy's still in the fight. Alright. I wonder if you can name convoy units. I'm gonna have to double check. I think you can. I'm not 100% sure, but I think you can. Because they'll have a bunch of extra monsters and stuff, and extra units from other factions for us to potentially name on the occasions that we do see them. Speaking of names, there were a few comments saying things like, I know I'm not a backer or Patreon or whatever, but can you name yada yada yada. The names aren't restricted to backers, and everybody's free to name stuff. There's only two restrictions really. Lords and heroes are restricted, well, except the tech thieves, but generally speaking, lords and heroes are restricted in their names, as in I don't name them much, mostly because we have a community canon here on the channel, and lords and heroes must be given the chance to make a legend for themselves and permanently join the channel as recurring characters. And the other restriction is regiments of renown. I just generally don't like to rename regiments of the renown because they already have names, and those are restricted and just to backers. So yeah, that's about it. That's about it. Otherwise, it looks like this battle is ours. We took way more damage than perhaps was anticipated, but perhaps should have anticipated it. If the dragon hadn't gotten caught in the way that it did by the war lines, this would be fine, and really the damage would be a lot more minimal. But the dragon is critical to keeping this army fighting against bigger armies, so we gotta try to heal it up before we send this convoy back out. Anyway, lovely little fight. Get a little bit of chasing going, but frankly, I'm not sure that we need to. Alright, fun little fight, as they always do tend to be with the convoy. The dragon, unfortunately, took a lot more damage than we would have liked. Unnecessary damage, I should say, because it had that thing where it couldn't lift off while being chased by the war lines, which I always find a little bit weird. the small, much smaller units interfering with the dragon's ability to lift off. Size comparison A and B, considering there were none of them in front of it. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. We're still okay. We should maybe heal up, although I think this convoy is near the end of its journey, so it's more or less good. Could go for more labor as well. Fine, take the labor. Take the labor, and that is... There we go. While succeeds, while fails. Thanks, game. Somebody else claims, or some Nemesis crown thing, and that's it. Alrighty, wait. Convoy encounter. Oh, yeah, okay. I thought that was the convoy being completed. In fact, convoy is 1 turn. Alright, so I think it's going to make it to where it needs to go and get us even more labor. Lovely. Anyway, folks, with that, we are very much out of time. I'm going to call the episode here. Next time, we got a lot of wars here, and we'll try to quickly grab Arrowhawk Roost. Definitely going to build up some units. And we did switch to recruitment now. Probably we'll have to spend skullcrackers if we have time before these guys come a-calling. We'll build some skullcrackers, or possibly, well, maybe start off with some magma cannons, or I don't know yet. We're going to build some artillery pieces, so we're going to be expending some armaments. It might also mean we have to spend some more armaments, but, well, you gotta spend armaments to make armaments. And obviously upgrade the other stuff and try to prioritize getting the Tier 3 Tower of Gorgoth so that we can get Kadai up and running from this location. Mostly because Drazh is already here, and he'll be here for a little while yet, as he deals with this, even as his Legion of Azgorh is getting attacked closer to home. Anyway, really fun so far. Damn, that quest battle was entertaining, and Drazh does have another quest battle available to him in rank 20, so we have another big one to look forward to, hopefully. Stay tuned for more. Don't forget to leave those likes and comments below, especially the threshold, and remember the streak for the double episodes. All glory to the algorithm, and thanks for watching.